Hi, everyone. My name is Drew, and I am part of Team Empyr.
Hello, I'm Robert Sunderhead.
Hello, I'm Nadia.
Hi, my name's Avi.
And today I would like to talk to you about the future of data sharing using the blockchain. So there's an identified problem here that we think Empyr could solve. Healthcare institutions are having a very difficult time efficiently and securely sharing sensitive data and information. And this has been clearly demonstrated in these recent events and times we live in.
So let's talk about the problem today. COVID-19. We're all dealing with it. We all know what it is. But it's actually revealed a very big problem in the data of the medical field. It could best be seen in California. Earlier in the COVID phase, California was doing great. They had the best doctors from Stanford and the UC system, and they minimized the impact to where they were being regarded as one of the best states in the nation. And they had no problems. Today, they have one of the greatest outbreaks, and they're having one of the biggest problems. Why? It's because they have a lack of data transfer system. No privacy is able to be given to the individual's medical data, so they cannot be transferred. This is a huge problem and has been a huge stunt of growth in the COVID research.
But let's look at the positive. How do we want to solve this? This is where Empyr comes in. We would like to provide APIs with an ecosystem that is based off of an alternative payment method like blockchain. We want to provide tools to institutions and companies to allow them to monetize these APIs using micropayments like Stellar or some token off of the Ethereum blockchain. Now, how are we going to accomplish this? And what benefit are we actually going to bring and give to these institutions that we would like to implement our product? What we are going to provide is we're going to provide a system and a platform that can be dropped in by all of these institutions to gain a better idea of what data of theirs is being accessed, which of their API endpoints are being called, and we're going to give them a transaction system that allows very flexible payment for these API calls. So if somebody from, say, the public health department in Berkeley wanted to query data from a hospital in Southern California, they'd be able to do so quickly, privately, and efficiently using the Stellar blockchain. These transactions could be settled within seconds, and a call could be made, and new and updated data could be used that provides the public health system in Southern California with a monetization option.
So now, as part of our value proposition, first, we want to monetize data using the blockchain. So we're going to help businesses and institutions create revenue from their application programming interfaces, while at the same time providing flexible data analysis and new business insights through that. And our next point is to provide support to keep businesses' APIs in operation and provide exceptional performance for consumers, which includes secure and fast data transfers. Next slide, please. Now, as part of the customer relations, our first point is also dedicated personal assistance. So even though we are an automated service, we are providing personalized assistance for businesses looking to move into the digital economy, which means faster customer onboarding. So we are enabling businesses to create additional revenue streams through innovative usage of the platform, and at the same time helping businesses leverage their digital assets into revenue streams and create new business models, which help the companies manage records overall.
So who is Empyr meant for? Well, it's meant for people that collect the data, and it's also meant for the people that consume the data. So healthcare institutions, hospitals, are meant to use Empyr to input their data and be able to send it out. So who are they sending it to? Well, the three main categories we decided upon, or I guess we discovered, were the healthcare solutions companies, developers, and research data sharing. As we saw in the California scenario, it's very important that these companies and institutions can have this data to make great predictions on to use this data for research purposes with the security of the individual. Next slide, please. So let's talk about revenue model. How are we going to make money off this? We're going to have a hybrid. So we're going to start out with open source, so anyone's going to be able to use it. But how are we going to make money off an open source model? Well, we're also going to have support. So with the open source model, you're going to have to pay for support to have people from Empyr help you out to give you the best experience. But we also have a higher level for people that really want to use Empyr to the max, proprietary. So with this method, you'll be able to use a blockchain you'll be able to use the blockchain payment method, which will be able to have higher security for the individuals.
So how does Empyr work between the client side and the consumer side? So hospitals, they are the healthcare institutions that we primarily sell to. They can develop and deploy their APIs using Empyr and be able to monetize it and have control over how their data is being used and who it's being sold to. So that goes to that API is then available to the buyer, which they're able to put in that request, which is shown below the title. And after requesting that API and that data, after the payment has gone through, the hospital is able to grant that data. And once that data is granted and that access to the data is granted, then the buyer has access to the data and has access to the constantly updating resource. Now we understand that medical information is highly secretive and is highly protected and very sensitive. And that is why we understand that hospitals are very protective of their data. And what we try to do in order to solve that issue is hospitals will maintain control of their data and be able to analyze how their data is being used. So when we show those two lines coming out of the data box, that basically means that the buyer has access to the data and how it's constantly being updated, new data sources, less data sources, in order to make their solutions more optimized and more accurate. While the hospital is still able to change their data, revoke access to the data, and be able to analyze how their data is being used in order to better optimize their API for future buyers. Now, we created a very primitive wireframe as of now, and this is in form of a front page landing page for a website. Basically having Empyr and being able to request a demo if the consumer wishes to buy into our product, having what our product does and how it can contribute to your institution or your company's long-term growth through the use of data monetization, and how does it work, which was on the slide on the previous slide. So this is going to be our primary method of communicating our product with our customers. So the competition. Now, there are quite a few competitors in this space, but we believe it's still very possible to compete with who our competitors are. So we created a competition matrix with two axes. One detailing our open source versus proprietary, and the other showing methods of monetization, which we really put an emphasis on using tokens and blockchain technology. So Empyr is very involved with doing blockchain and open source, which has not been currently done by the industry. Although there are quite a few other very successful companies in the other areas, we do believe we have the ability to successfully compete with those companies. As for our future, how we intend on working on Empyr in the next few months is currently today we have gone as far as creating wireframes for what the client side will look like and what the consumer side will look like, and creating wireframes for the landing page and the website. After that, we wish to review our findings and review our wireframes and eventually turn that into a usable prototype with our desired functions and features. After that, we go to user testing. We go to hospitals, we communicate with their IT departments and get information back from them and how we can better optimize this prototype in order to effectively and easily transition into their data infrastructure and their technological infrastructure. Beyond that, once we get all of the feedback, we redevelop our prototypes and eventually move on to development. Thank you. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask.